The 7th season of the FIM MotoE World Championship is underway as a whole host of fresh faces get ready to ruffle feathers with the established stars. The all-new season sees us traverse Europe once again, but it's Le Mans where it's the charge and where it's most certainly on. Round one at a historic circuit, one of the best for MotoE. We're ready. Are you? It's the big day for MotoE, a brand new season with brand new storylines, brand new rivalries, brand new riders, and up here in comms, a little bit of a brand new sound. I'm Kiko Giles. You may have heard me across Moto3 this season so far, as well as World Superbike, the Women's World Championship and World Supersport 300 in recent seasons. And for those of you who are super dedicated, a bit of esports as well. Keeping me on the straight and narrow and fact-checking all of my stats, facts and trivia is MotoE expert Neil Morrison. And just before we get underway with round one, a huge thank you to Jack Gorst, who did such a great job last year. Hopefully this year, Neil, will be able to keep the energy high and entertainment aplenty. You join us, and I can't believe I'm saying it, it's a sunny Le Mans. It has been fantastic. We had forecasted rain. It has since abated. We do have dark clouds overhead, so we're hanging on for the time being. But a sun-soaked, passionate home crowd are staying present for the last bit of track action of this Friday here at the Michelin Grand Prix of France. It is, of course, MotoE. As I said, Kiko Giles here, Neil Morrison over to my left-hand side, and Neil, back for a 7th season. It's my first. This class, it never disappoints.
It never disappoints, Kiko, and thank you for that intro. I think that's the first time in my career I've ever been called an expert in anything, so your powers of flattery, no bounds, let's say. And there is, of course, big news, I guess. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this session, there is going to be a fairly big absentee on the MotoE grid this weekend, and this is why. Hector Garzo, your reigning champion, had a huge crash coming down into the Shimano Buff S's this morning, and Hector has injured his elbow. A very deep cut, required 4 stitches, and the cut was so deep that basically he was ruled out of action today and tomorrow. So a disastrous start to the reigning world champions championship defence, Kiko.
The number one absent, and that is never a pleasant start to a brand new season. Hector Garzo, spoke with him yesterday. He said the main thing is to keep improving himself. He's going to have to wait a little while for that. He won't be doing it today or tomorrow. Matteo Ferrari, though, has been your form rider right through testing. He was very, very fast indeed over one lap. He was very, very fast indeed over the race simulation in Barcelona. It's hard to put favourites, but if we were to put a group of 4 or 5 of them, you'd be putting Matteo Ferrari, Neil.
Yeah, you certainly would. But it has been an ideal start to this French Grand Prix for the Italian. He finds himself in this Q1 session along with his teammate Alessio Finello. Those two names teaming up once again for a charge on this MotoE World Championship this year. And Ferrari, yeah, will be certainly aiming to come through this session. One of 2 riders that could emerge from Q1 into Q2. Very similar setup to the other Grand Prix categories that we have in this MotoE World Championship. And yeah, we will be getting started in just a couple of minutes' time.
Well, yeah, we're not far away, of course. If you're just joining us, there is some big news in terms of a couple of new nationalities. Here is one of them, Tibor Erik Varga. Those of you who've been watching the Northern Talent Cup in recent years will know that he is capable of great things. He's been a race winner there, but takes on a new challenge in MotoE. And also the number 12 of Jacopo Hosjuk for the MSI racing team is flying the flag for Romania despite being born in Rome. But he takes Romanian nationality, so 2 brand new nationalities represented on the MotoE grid. We've also got the return of San Marino and Luca Bernardi. Those of you who've been a close follower of World Superbikes will have seen him over there for a season in World Superbike itself, also in World Supersport. The number 9 of Andrea Mantovani is also back, and of course Mantovani winless last year, Neil. He'll be looking to try and get back on that top step in 2025 at some point, if not this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. The zany Italian with a wonderful lock of hair makes his return to this category. He'll be riding for the 4th straight season in the MotoE World Championship this year. Returns as well with Clint Forward team, where he raced last year. So Mantovani proved in 2023 that he could be a race winner in this class, as we see one of the new names, one of the 6 new names in the class here. And for the first time in 2025 in MotoE, we can pass down to our pit lane reporter, Elliot York.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to everyone watching as well. Great to be back and great to have the MotoE season finally up and running. Just a bit of a weather update. Sun, as you can see from your TV screens, is shining. When the sun is out, it's actually pretty warm, nearly touching 20 degrees according to my watch. So pretty good conditions compared to what they had this morning. Similar, I guess, to what the riders had this afternoon. So I don't think it's going to change too much in terms of the feeling that they had. But once the cloud cover does come over, the temperature does severely drop. So just watch out for that. But yeah, excited to see how this one plays out, gents.
Oh, it's lovely to have some sun in Le Mans, isn't it? It almost it rolls off the tongue, Neil. MotoE, talking of rolling, are rolling out onto the track. So Q1, if you're new to it, the top 2 of Q1 will go up and join the already seeded 8 riders who are into Q2. Just before we get underway with some hot laps, I'll talk you through who's there. Mattia Casadei, Eric Granado, Jordi Torres was your top 3 ahead of Oscar Gutierrez. Zanoni there in 5th place ahead of Zacconi. Lorenzo Baldassari, yes, he's in MotoE. He's got a big new challenge ahead of him. He's 7th on the number 7. And a big shout out to one of our biggest improvers from last year into this year. She's had top 5 finishes before. Maria Herrera has done the hard graft. She's already through to Q2, Neil, so she will not be seen in this Q1 session. Big names though in it. Nicola Spinelli, he's been a winner here, double last year, of course, don't forget. Matteo Ferrari, we've already mentioned him. Luca Bernardi, one of your new riders. Mantovani, we mentioned him, but we didn't clarify. He is actually going through this session as well, along with Hosiuk, Tibor Eric Varga, Fusco and Oki on your screens. The number 28 making his debut, and what a debut it will be for the 658 squad. He's got a lot to learn, but this extra 9 or so minutes of live track action will be doing him just fine and getting him up to speed on MotoE machinery, Neil.
Yes, absolutely. And the Ongere 658 Squadra Corsa team will have an all-new lineup for this year. Gone are Kevin Manfredi and Massimo Roccoli, who joined up in that squad last year. And as Kiko just said, we'll have Oki and Raffaele Fusco as their 2 riders this year, 2 rookies. And it's the same kind of makeup in the MotoE World Championship this year. 9 teams, 18 riders, and it's pretty much the same makeup as last year, with the exception Tech 3 have withdrawn, and in their place come Rival Cold Snipers, obviously a very capable Moto 3 team that have been running in the World Championship for decades, I think, and yeah, they're now stepping up to MotoE in 2025.
Grand Prix winners, of course, so if they can do it there, let's hope they can do it here in MotoE. So we've got the installation laps done. These are your first time laps. Matteo Ferrari is your first one going around the track at the moment, just tipping in down towards turn 7. This is arguably probably the best track conditions we've had all weekend, Neil. Of course, yesterday it was dry until the last of their practice sessions where it rained, so that was an interesting opportunity for the likes, particularly of the rookies, to see how these MotoE bikes feel in the wet. This morning, obviously, it was very, very cold. Even going into the early afternoon, it was cold, but the sun is absolutely out, as El said, down in pit lane. So great conditions to be doing a bit of screen biting and trying to scrape through into Q2 if you're in this lot.
Yeah, and conditions that are going to be very relevant for tomorrow's second race. Of course, we have the double header of MotoE races on the Saturday. That will continue like it did in 2023 and in 24. We'll have one race just before lunchtime, and then the second race of the day will come after the Tissot Sprint around 4 p.m. or just after 4 p.m. local time. So it is going to be an all-action Saturday here at the French Grand Prix. Obviously, this is the 3rd year of Ducati being the sole machine provider for this category, and there has been a little bit of evolution with the Ducati machines in 2025. They have managed to shed 8.2 kilos from 2024 to 2025. That is a pretty big amount of weight for anyone that's ridden a motorcycle, and a lot of the riders saying that the bike is just a lot easier to kind of throw around, especially in fast changes of direction, and they reckon that they've made most of those gains with the weight with the battery. They're using different cells for this year, more efficient, and therefore they have to use less of them within the batteries. So expect to see MotoE lap times and race times tumble this year, just because the bike is going to be significantly lighter than before.
You're not going to believe this, Neil. Coincidentally, I'm exactly 8.2 kilos heavier than this time last year, so I reckon Ducati have done me a number there. You mentioned the lap times. You're absolutely spot on this morning in the practice sessions that seed your top 8 into Q2, and who has to go through here. Mattia Casadei on a 39.813. That's a new all-time lap record, and that was already bagged early on this morning, so expect the times to tumble. We've got the first times in. Let's just quickly go through it before we get them tumbling a little bit more. We we have at the moment Matteo Ferrari in what would be a position to lead the session and move through into Q2 along with Nicolas Spinelli. So both of those riders well acquainted in MotoE terms, and they will at the moment move in to join the already seeded 8 to form a 10-rider shootout for pole in Q2 coming up. But the time's 40.210. It doesn't really trouble anything. We're still a couple of tenths off what the old lap time, old lap record was. So there is a lot of time left in this track. But of course, with the evolution of the Ducati MotoE machine, the conditions are absolutely ideal for putting a banker down, putting an absolute hammer time lap in. So keep an eye on the lap timer. I'm sure potentially not in Q1, but in Q2 we will see a new lap record.
Yeah, I think we can confidently state there, Kiko, we'll go out on a limb and say that that is probably going to fall this afternoon. We've already seen it happen in MotoGP without giving away any further spoilers, as we see Spinelli, who has been pushed down to third in this session, manages to improve in time but not in position, and that would be a big blow for the number 29. He was obviously riding for the Tech 3 team in 2024, a real season that started so promisingly. I was going to say a season of two halves, one that started so brilliantly and positively with 3 wins in the first 4 races last year, and then it just fell away. Could not buy a finish, never mind a podium in the middle part of the season. His form completely evaporated, and it will be interesting to see whether he's able to recover some of that early season speed from last year in his new surroundings of the Riva Colt Snipers team.
He'll hope so. At the moment he's going to need to find about a tenth or so of a second, or 2/10 of a second, to beat Andrea Mantovani, who's just moved up into P2 and actually improved his time. We're following the number 9 right now. He's about a quarter of a second under as he's coming down towards the 3rd sector at turn 9 and turns 10. So keep an eye on Mantovani. He's on the power now, using the curve. Down he goes. He's dropped a couple of tenths, so it's still touch and go for Mantovani. Spinelli's in with a shout here at the halfway point, so we'll keep an eye on that 29 as well. Matteo Ferrari's on a lap, but it's 3 grey sectors at the moment, so it doesn't look like the goalpost will shift just yet. But down into Recordamon for what will be a very impressive lap if he holds this to the line. Mantovani trying to move himself out of a potential drop zone. He's in P2. He does not improve, so that 3rd sector either proving tricky for Mantovani or magical for Ferrari, who's just come into the pit lane as well, Neil. That's that looking done for him.
Yeah, it could be a little bit costly, that, for Mantovani, because Spinelli, who is just coming out off Recordamon at present, he manages just to keep it within track limits using all of the curbs. Spinelli comes across the line, but he also loses a tenth of a second in that final split. We've got a yellow flag up at sector 1.
We have indeed, and this lap, of course, by virtue of those yellow flags, is going to be done and dusted for Nicolas Spinelli, so he's going to be old-fashioned Superpole style when he comes back across the line. He will get another lap. That is Luca Bernardi flying the San Marinese flag for the first time since we saw Alex De Angelis in MotoE. He's up and okay. Any predictions on what's going to happen here? I reckon it's the front, Neil.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. We've had a couple of those crashes out throughout the day, although I don't think you can really blame a cold front tyre in these kind of warm afternoon conditions that we have. Easily the finest conditions of the day so far. And we've got a red flag, and well, I think that, well, I'm pretty sure that is because the marshals cannot retrieve this bike in the gravel trap. So,
and I tell you what, Neil, and a minute and 29 remaining. They're only setting 140s. That's that. That is that. I think we have our top 2 moving through, Ferrari and Mantovani. Well, you said that lap time would be very costly for Nicolas Spinelli. I said, well, he could get round. He's not going to get round, not to start another lap. That's a disaster for Spinelli. So it is going to be 11th. Well, it will be 11th, not at best. It is 11th, absolutely, for Nicolas Spinelli. But Ferrari and Mantovani, well, they are saved by the red flag.
Yeah, they are indeed. And just if you haven't been over at MotoE in recent years, basically there is a bit of a procedure to retrieve the bikes from the gravel trap if they've had a crash. Obviously, because they're electric machines, they need to be treated with real care. And if everything is being relatively undamaged, there is a signal on the bike which says that marshals can approach and can touch the machines. But sometimes, if there has been a bit of damage, especially to the battery, it's been a big one, then they need very special equipment to retrieve the bikes, and it needs to be treated with some care. So you can see that I think the truck is leaving pit lane now to potentially go up and deal with those conditions there at turn number 3. So maybe here for a few minutes yet, Kiko.
Well, thankfully, we have a pit lane reporter, so if he's listening, Elliot York, you can get your footstep count in and get some paces down and find us someone to talk to, just in case we're here for a little while. Elliot York down there in pit lane. Where is he? Let's just make sure he's working as we look in pit lane here in Le Mans.
Half expected to see him with an ice cream there, Kiko, but yeah, it looks as though he is actually
you don't know him like I do. He's normally got something else in his hands that you can consume quite lively here, but not at Le Mans, unfortunately, because the tent has not arrived. We'll have that back next time out, but Elliot York will be, I'm sure, finding someone to chat to. It offers a little bit of respite for these guys, Matteo Ferrari and Andrea Mantovani. Not so much down here at the Sitch 58 Quadricorsa team, sponsored by Ongetta, of course, in this class. Tommaso Occhi and Fusco there down in 8th and 9th, and they're obviously not going to be moving anywhere at all there, Neil. Bit of a problem. Session won't be restarted. That is slightly a given. If they did restart it, it would have taken them the best part of 2 minutes to even do an outlap, and by that time the checkered flag would have been out. So no session restart, not a massive surprise.
Yeah, not a massive surprise, and we'll be straight into Q2 then once this bike is retrieved, as we see some of the fire department that deal with MotoE and make sure that everything is nice and safe throughout the weekend, making attempts to retrieve that bike. I think we can pass down to Elliot, who might have an update for us.
Yeah, I'm just eagerly watching the Ducati guys who are on pit wall here, watching what you guys are watching on screen there. We know already today that there's been a couple of red flags, one in MotoE. For this exact reason, they're taking very, very much care in retrieving the bikes this year. I'm going to get a word with Roberto Cani, the project leader for Ducati MotoE, when I can, but they're pretty busy watching what's going on at this moment in time. So, yeah, interesting stuff down here. Session won't be restarted, so I'll try and get a quick word with Roberto to get the latest on this kind of procedure and, of course, the new updates as soon as possible for you.
Cheers for that, El. Breaking news that he is working so that we can relax up here in comms if necessary, Neil. I just wanted to talk about, if I can, Raffaele Fusco. It is his first time at Le Mans. Let's talk about 658 because they are at the bottom at the moment. We're going to have time to fill. So you've got his first time at Le Mans. He's only been a regular into CIV Super Sport and Superbike in recent years. A podium finisher a long time ago in the Italian Moto3 Championship, and before that a pre-CIV Moto3 champion. So he's got plenty of success in in smaller categories. But Fusco, it's a huge learning curve. These bikes are not like anything he'll have ridden before.
Yeah, that is a big step up. We do know that Paolo Simoncelli loves fostering some of the youngest, most promising Italian talent that he's seen from either Junior GP or the Italian CIV Championship. As we see another crash here of Bernardi, just as he pins in to the left part of turn 3 there up at the Dunlop chicane. It just goes away from him and caps what was a pretty tricky session for the rookie. He'll be starting in some mental arithmetic here.
Hold the line. Great song.
14th place it will be for Bernardi on the grid.
Very good stuff though from Luca Bernardi over in the World Superbike paddock a few years ago. Again, similar to Fusco, similar to Tommaso Occhi. Again, another one who's come from the Italian Championship, like Bernardi in many ways, but perhaps not quite on the world stage. These bikes are just so different, Neil. They require a completely different way of riding. It's something that Lorenzo Baldassarri has said he's struggled to adapt all those years in Moto2, and he's not been able to get it working. More on that in a moment. Matteo Ferrari has moved on through with Andrea Mantovani. Unfortunately, Nicola Spinelli was on course to improve his time. He didn't. He took third, and then the red flag came out because of a crash for Luca Bernardi. So whilst the marshals and the safety team retrieve that number 19 machine, we've had a red flag with 90 seconds, just under 90 seconds remaining on the clock, and therefore the session is not restarted. Thibaut Eric Varga, Tommaso Occhi, Raffaele Fusco, the bottom five down to 9, Jacopo Hosiuk and Luca Bernardi included, all rookies, and a very tough day at the office for them 5, but we have got one rookie representative up in Q2. That's coming up next. Matteo Ferrari and Mantovani join Lorenzo Baldassarri and 7 others to see who will take the first pole of MotoE in 2025. Welcome back trackside to Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit, the first event on the calendar for the MotoE World Championship. Q1 is done and dusted, a little bit prematurely it must be said. A red flag for a crash for Luca Bernardi, meaning the marshals couldn't quite recover the bike safely and efficiently given the separate procedures we have here in the FIA MotoE World Championship. The bike has been recovered now, but the session was ended with 90 seconds remaining on the clock and therefore will not be restarted. Matteo Ferrari and Andrea Mantovani, the Italian duo, moving through to deny Nicola Spinelli, and now will go up against the heavyweights who moved through to Q2 already anyway, courtesy of the combined practice times. Mattia Casadei, Eric Granado, Jordi Torres, Oscar Gutierrez, Kevin Zanoni in 5th place, Alessandro Zacconi, and then it's Lorenzo Baldassari and Maria Herrera. I can't say how much of a step Maria Herrera has made. It's great to see the World WCR Championship leader also shining brightly here in MotoE. New voice up here in the comms box, Kiko Giles here, Neil Morrison as ever ready and waiting to my left over there, and down there in pit lane, Elliot York, I think, has someone rather special. El, take it away.
Certainly do here with Roberto Cani, lead project of MotoE for Ducati. I'm sure you're very excited for the new season. Talk to us what you've been working on Ducati-wise and the riders' feedback from the new bike. I'm sure there's a couple of changes that we already know about.
Yeah, the new bike, the rider found that the new bike is quite interesting, in particular for the reduced weight, because we changed something on the motorcycle, especially the battery pack is lightweight now, is roughly 8 kilograms less compared to the last motorcycle, and we worked also on other parts of the motorcycle, so we could reduce a little bit also other parts. That led to a result that riders are appreciating, because you know, on the racing, as soon as you can reduce the weight just 1 kilogram, they feel it, so it's important for them.
Where have they felt it the most? Obviously agility, I assume, is a big aspect. Have you gained maybe some top speed? What's been the riders' feedback through pre-season?
Yeah, not so much on the top speed, because yes, it's changed, but not so much, but the agility of the bike, the feeling when they brake also, that they can find that the bike is more controllable when you enter into the curve, and they felt that also the acceleration phase is easier to handle. So that's due also to another point we worked on, that is the traction control. We gave them also new mappings for traction control. So together, that new software, let me say, and the weight of the bike helped them to ride better the bike.
That sounds good. And just finally, talk us through the procedure when a bike has crashed. We saw a red flag obviously this morning, a bit of a delay there as well. For the fans back home who may not know so much, just talk us through what the process is.
Okay, the process is quite simple. On the side of the bike you have some LEDs. If they are the green one are lit, everything is okay on the bike. But if they go off, or if they show red light, there could be a problem on the motorcycle. So it's better to apply a safer procedure where the bomberos, the firefighters, go firstly into the truck, pull out the motorcycle in a safe place around the circuit, and then we, as Ducati, come with our tools to check that everything is okay. Luckily, during all the season there were no problems, even if there were LEDs shut off, etc. It was only a warning, but nothing severe happened up to now, luckily, and I cross fingers, of course.
Absolutely. Roberto, thank you for your time. Appreciate your comments, and enjoy this session, and have a good season.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Roberto. Crossing fingers and pretty much everything up here in comms that we don't have to have such a disastrous situation out there on track. But great to hear from Roberto Cani there. Neil, obviously the project leader for Ducati, so he's the man who knows pretty much everything. Also knows what he can tell people as well, I'm sure, about that Ducati MotoE project. But it's important that I think we highlight and emphasise that Ducati, whilst they're at the forefront of technology in terms of bike development, but in terms of safety procedures, to make sure that MotoE can be fast and safe in terms of collecting the bike as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is paramount. I think that is probably the #1 objective, as well as producing a motorcycle that can roughly run the times of Moto3. That is more or less the aim of the MotoE category since Ducati have come in. And yeah, they have managed to do that. It is very much a testing ground for Ducati and the Audi group, of course, who own Ducati as well, as they're making tentative steps in the two-wheel electric field. I have to say, what they've produced in the first couple of years has been a bike that's not just been fast and reliable, but also one that is incredibly easy to ride. And we've just seen such great variety, Kiko, in the last couple of MotoE World Championships. Just the number of pole position setters, the number of podium finishers and race winners, riders fighting for the championship. There are probably 8 to 9 names that you could point to and say, yeah, he's going to finish or she's going to finish on the podium this year.
You've got to say that. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've got some statistics about MotoE in general. 16 different winners, 22 different riders have been on the podium. We've had 14 different pole sitters, and we've only had 2 riders do more than 62 starts. It's 64 starts at the moment for Maria Herrera, Matteo Ferrari. 53 riders have started a MotoE race. It's all in 6 years. Yet in the Ducati era, the numbers probably will not be that too dissimilar, because we have seen that variety. We've now very rarely seen riders being able to get double wins. In race 1, it's one rider. In race 2, it's the other. Poles back-to-back doesn't happen that often. It's very, very interesting that in this Ducati era, the bike seems to be much more versatile for a much wider kind of riding style window.
Yeah, and I think I spoke to Nicolas Goubert, CEO of MotoE World Championship at the end of last year. He said one of the common complaints of the riders was actually the bike was too easy to ride. They felt that they couldn't use their talent and their ability to make the difference. So they were actually asking Ducati, can you make this just a little bit edgier to ride? Because at the moment it's just like,
talking of edgier, that's gone down on the front end. That is the number 40 of Casadei. Deary me. Well, Casadei was one of the favourites coming into this. He's had a bit of a get off there at turn 3. Thankfully not as quick as Luca Bernardi, but Casadei up on his feet, and hopefully that bike can get recovered. We have yellow flags at sector 1, so anyone who's coming through that right now, their lap times are gone already.
Yeah, hopefully that's retrievable for Mattia Casadei. Otherwise, it could spell disaster. The former MotoE World Champion as he is now, and we can see coming up towards turn 3 here at the Dunlop chicane. It's very tricky as you're just on the apex there on the left. The front tucks away. Casadei was not expecting that at all. That has been one of the real trouble spots in MotoE racing since we first came here back in 2020. And Casadei, the 23 world champion in this category, out to get his crown back this year. Well, it hasn't started in the best possible way.
It hasn't at all. Casadei's won a race in every single season that we've been in MotoE. If he wants to win it now here at Le Mans, he might have to be coming through the grid. The good thing for him is by virtue of the qualifying system, he will not start lower than 10th place. It will be 10th at the absolute lowest if he can't set a lap time. Now, I said that anyone coming through the yellow flag zone should have their lap cancelled. Obviously not the case for Eric Granado, because he was absolutely right behind the number 40 of Casadei. So Eric Granado comes across the line. It's a 40.9, but expect that time to absolutely tumble. That's nowhere near what we've been able to do or see earlier on in Q1. A 39.8 is where we're really looking at in terms of a reference time. That was set this morning. So Eric Granado already a load of riders going quicker than him. Oscar Gutierrez, the number 99, is the one who was struck first at the moment at 40.4. Then it's Zacconi, Mantovani, Herrera, Granado there in that 5th place, and Kevin Zanoni in 6th. So 6 riders setting a lap time. Casadei is obviously going to have to do it the hard way. Torres, Baldassari and Ferrari all yet to set a lap time, but they are out on track.
Yeah, good stuff from Oscar Gutierrez. Obviously, he was the sensation of MotoE in 2024. Came in as a rookie and then was fighting for the championship. But for late disaster in Austria, which was the penultimate round of the season, he probably would have been right in the hunt up until the final race of the season. So, personally, my pre-season pick for the championship this year is the number 99 of Oscar Gutierrez. I'm not just saying that because he's gone fastest. I'm not that fit. I'm quite fickle, but not that fickle, Kiko. But yeah, look out for him. He's definitely going to be a name to watch this year.
I can't believe it. We haven't even had a pole sitter yet, and Neil Morrison is making bold predictions. It's if you want to shift any money, get in touch with Neil Morrison. He's pretty famous around these MotoE parts, I tell you. Look how many red sectors we got on, though, Neil. At the moment, Oscar Gutierrez, a 40.4. We said that around the 40.0 mark is really where it's going to be at. 39.8 is where it has been at. So not a surprise to see so many red sectors. Let's get Eric Granado across the line. He got that hooked up and spinning through 13 and 40. Now out to the edge of the curb. He's going to come down and across the line. What's the time? At 39.5. So we're already under the 140s. That is a fantastic lap from Eric Granado. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to topple that, but it is very, very strong indeed.
Yeah, well, you say that. Alessandro
right
Zacconi has just proved you wrong. The number 61, who's changed teams from this year, he's moved across from Tech 3 into the Aruba Cloud team for 2025. And Zacconi, who's had a very, very strong pre-season with, yeah, I think he was fastest, wasn't he, in the qualifying simulation that we had back in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago, is showing that he could well be on for pole position in the first round of this year.
Zacconi looking very, very good, and not the first, nor will he be the last to prove me wrong, I'm sure, in 2025. Let's take you through turn 14. We've got Jordi Torres setting his first lap time. He comes across the line. It's good enough for 9th, and that's about it. Let's have a quick trip down to pit lane. Elliot, what you got?
Yeah, Casadei has come into pit lane. The left side of the handlebar is pretty wrecked. It's quite bent. He's not going to get back out anytime soon. I think they're just having a discussion with him and the team whether they are going to send him back out. 3 minutes, just under 40 remaining. Casadei not looking too pleased, as you can imagine. He got a little bit of a telling off as well because he rode the wrong way down pit lane. But yeah, I don't think this session is going to get back underway for Casadei, unfortunately.
Disaster for Casadei, 3.5 minutes on the clock. We said earlier, if it worst case scenario is he starts 10th, looks very much like he's going to be doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Casadei, I think, absolutely totaled this machine in that qualifying simulation that we had at the Barcelona test a couple of weeks ago, which I think was maybe left some of the senior personnel of the MotoE World Championship slightly nonplussed. They thought it wasn't necessarily worth risking that just for the bragging rights of pole position in the qualifying simulation, but that is, I guess that shows you an insight into Mattia Casadei's mentality, as we see Gutierrez come across the line and Maria Herrera. I have to say, very impressed with Maria Herrera so far. This is definitely stronger than we've seen her in this MotoE World Championship for some time.
Very much so. She's been right up inside the top 10, up in 2nd place yesterday. Oh, on-board shot with Mattia Casadei. Let's get ready for him to exit the camera shot on the right. No, we're going to have a look at, see what happened. Neil, talk us through it.
Yeah, just as he gets to the apex of the inside there, the front just tucks and gives way. And obviously, with this bike much lighter than last year, they are still trying to recalibrate and understand exactly how much lean angle they can carry, how much braking force they can use, and yeah, unfortunately that just did not work out. We're hearing in our headsets from Elliot that it is session over for Mattia Casadei. It will be 10th on the grid for him.
Disaster for Mattia Casadei down there, so no time set. He will be out for big revenge tomorrow, come both races, of course. Less than 2 minutes on this clock. This is qualifying on Friday evening here at Le Mans for MotoE. Race 1 coming up tomorrow to just past midday. Then it is race 2 to bookend a super Saturday of motorcycle racing here at the Michelin Grand Prix of France. 90 seconds to go. Kevin Zanoni on a fantastic lap so far. He flicks it to the left through turn 12. He's 3/10 off at the moment. 3/10 off. Zanoni, it would improve his time. I don't think it's going to get him much higher up though than where he already is. Middle of that second row. Mantovani heads it so far, but Zacconi is the rider on a 39.5 ahead of Brazil's Eric Granado and Oscar Gutierrez, who set that front row, and in the case of Zacconi, the pole position. Zanoni across the line, Kevin Zanoni across the line, and that is 5th place, but he doesn't improve his time. We pick up Matteo Ferrari, who came through Q1, don't forget. At the moment, he's 6th, Neil, and with a minute to go, he's going to get one more lap, and he's going to need it.
Yeah, he certainly is. If he wants to get a spot on the front row of the grid, he's not going to do it with this lap time. You can see that he's nearly 7/10 of a second off. Ferrari comes across the line, a winner here 2 years ago in 2023, the first ever round that we had with Ducati machinery in this class. Ferrari will have one more bite at the cherry. What can Jordi Torres do? It looks as though he's on course to jump up 1 or 2 positions here with this lap time. The double MotoE World Champion crosses the line. He goes 6th and pushes Ferrari back into 7th.
Lorenzo Baldassarri, our highest placed rookie, regardless of what happens happens in this session because he's the only one in Q2. He's gone 8th, so Maria Herrera, less than a second off at the moment, is 9th. Fairly unjust, but still confirmation of the step that she's made. We're looking at Eric Granado, who was on a personal best, but it's Gray through sector 2. Let's pick him up as he bounces in to turns 9 and 10, pulls it down to an apex. What's it as he comes through, and across the timing beam, it's still Gray, and he's about a 10th and a half off, so he is going to have the final sector of his life to try and get another pole position for Eric Granado, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. It looks like it's going to be Zacconi who's going to hold it. A checkered flag is out. Granado will be the first to take it. He's Gray so far. Is it a magical final sector, or will he settle for second? Taking the flag, it is second, and he actually loses time in that third sector. Zanoni improves his time, stays in the middle of that second row in 5th.
Decent stuff then from Kevin Zanoni, who had easily his best ever MotoE campaign last year, looking to build on that. Gutierrez doesn't manage to improve either. He's going to be 3rd on the grid, and I think that is pretty much your lot, because the other riders on flying laps are not on improvers. Baldassarri, Ferrari and Torres all having grey sectors on our timing screen, so I think the order that you see in the left-hand side of your screens, that is going to be pretty much it for the grid tomorrow.
The rider at the bottom, Matteo Cassidy, that is absolutely confirmed because he has not set a lap time. So it looks like it is going to be Alessandro Zacconi who starts his season in fine style. That's a 4th pole position for Alessandro Zacconi, the 26-year-old from Rimini in Italy, and it is going to be his first since the Saxon Ring last year. All 3 of his other poles came last year, so he starts 2025 as he means to go on. The 61 ahead of the 51, Eric Granado. It's another front row for the Brazilian. Granado has had plenty of poles before. He was on for his 11th if he could make it work today. In the end, he can't. It is another fine front row for him, though. And 3rd place for Oscar Gutierrez. What a performance it is by him. Another front row for him, and he's going to be looking to try and make it his 4th win. He'll have to do it from the inside in P3. Not easy, but he's got an advantage that most of the field don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Zacconi obviously came together with Eric Granado in the first race of last year's MotoE event here at Le Mans, up at turn 4 at the top of the hill, exiting the Dunlop chicane. Zacconi came out worse in that incident, and he really felt that ruined his French Grand Prix when he was showing potential race-winning pace. Well, it could well be those 2 names to do battle for victory in tomorrow's affair as well. Although I will say, Oscar Gutierrez is going to be involved. Very sleek colour scheme, you have to say, with that
Gorgeous
MSI bike this year. Lots more blue, less orange and green from last year. Gutierrez looking the part and backing that up with some excellent showings here in qualifying as well.
He always looks the part on that front row as well, the number 99 of Gutierrez. Just a point to mention, Neil, obviously the 39.699 from Gutierrez, that means that the whole front row is actually under the earlier lap record that was set this morning, so no one going slow. And in the end, there's only one of them that can start on pole. Zacconi doing a fine job on the 39.545.
Yeah, absolutely. 2nd year for that team in this World Championship. They obviously had Chaz Davies in the ranks last year, Armando Pontoni, but couldn't really find a setting at any point through the year to make either of those riders competitive. Got an all-new rider lineup this year, and 1 or 2 different technicians on board as well. New riders, and one of them is very much doing the business. Alessandro Zacconi looking very much back to his best in the MotoE World Championship, and he has drawn first blood in 2025.
Twice a winner here at Le Mans as well. Twice a winner, sorry, in MotoE. Once at Le Mans, that was, sorry, what am I talking about? Podium at Le Mans in 2021, twice a winner, once at Jerez in 21, once at Assen last year. So Zacconi knows what it takes to not just get a podium, but also grab a couple of wins. You can see that Elliot York is there with the blue polo shirt, not the long blonde hair, on the right-hand side of shot, and he's just getting ready to get the latest words down there in Parc Ferme, the E-Parc Ferme. And what a front row, it's a power pack front row. Let's talk about the second row. Mantovani, top of the riders who came on through from Q1, brilliant stuff from him in P4. Zanoni, solid in 5th, and Jordi Torres, a late charge, but he bags that second row. That's so important for the number 81.
Yeah, Edge and Matteo Ferrari back into 7th as well in the process, so decent stuff from Torres. It wasn't spectacular, but he definitely got the job done. It was by no means disastrous. Turn 3 is always a bit of a trouble point on this track on the first lap of MotoE racing, and it will obviously be very interesting to see who is able to make moves there in tomorrow's double header. But another shout out as well, Maria Herrera in 9th. Super performance from her today. And Lorenzo Baldassarri making his MotoE debut did himself, well, he did himself proud, I think, with that 8th place, you have to say, in his first ride for the Dynavolt Intact GP team.
You have to say that, yeah. I don't think it's up for debate. A very, very good start indeed for all of the riders, but indeed for your front row. Let's go down to Elliot to get the latest from someone who is going to have plenty of smiles. I'll take it away.
Yeah, Oscar, great job to get on the front row. I'm sure that was the target coming into qualifying. How are you feeling after that?
I'm really happy to stay on the third row, especially after today's crash and in the morning. I had a lot of pain on my hand, so I didn't know if I could make the race this weekend because it was a hard one. But you know, I'm strong on my mind, so I just say, come on, you can do it. And I want to really thank you, my team, because they repaired the bike in a record time. So I'm really happy for them, and we will try to make a good 2 races tomorrow and enjoy.
Great job. Good luck tomorrow.
3 wins, 8 podiums, a pole, 5 fastest laps from 20 starts, Neil. He's got a front row to start 2025. Oscar Gutierrez is a dark horse going into tomorrow. Or is he a genuine contender? Because dark horse perhaps associated with someone who is not necessarily there.
He's not just a genuine contender for tomorrow, but for the championship, Kiko. He's my favourite. So
of course.
keep your eyes on the number 99. Predicting big things for him this year in his 2nd year, now that he's got a year of experience under his belt. Big things as well from Eric Granado, who has won plenty of races in his time, and he'll be aiming for a double tomorrow. He's in Park Fermé with Elliot.
Eric, top job on the front row. Great job in qualifying. Talk us through your feelings and how you're feeling tomorrow.
Yeah, the feeling is great. We did a very good pre-season. I'm so happy with the feeling, with the work with the team. We are going a good way, so yes, I'm very confident for the race. You know, the important thing is be here in the Park Fermé tomorrow in both races, so this is the target to be on the top. For sure, the race will be very tight, you know, we are everyone very close, but I will do my best and let's see what happens and let's go for it.
Good luck for tomorrow.
Valeu, valeu.
He's looking to get back to winning ways in 2025. He's got more wins than anyone else, but he's not got that title that he perhaps deserves.
Yeah, we've been saying it for so long, haven't we? He's easily one of the fastest guys in this category, yet has yet to win a championship, and consistency has always been his downfall. Can Eric Granado put together a consistent campaign in 2025? Well, not even Granado could stop this man on the charge for pole position, the first of 2025. Alessandro Zacconi's with Elliot.
Alessandro, new team, but going great guns in qualifying. I'm sure you're really pleased with that. How are you feeling?
Well, this one was unexpected because we were not in the perfect condition. Also, I had a huge crash this morning in FP1. And I don't feel super good with the bike. Not bad, but not super good. But we did some improvement for this session, and for sure it works. And well, for sure tomorrow will be a difficult race because I did a lap, but on the pace maybe I'm not perfect, so I don't know what happened when there is a drop with the tire. But anyway, new team, first race, first pole position, we have to enjoy. I have to say thanks to everybody, and let's try to enjoy tomorrow.
Top job, enjoy tomorrow.
What, sorry?
Top job, enjoy tomorrow.
Well, we will try.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Top job, enjoy tomorrow. Thank you, Elliot York, for your contributions to MotoE so far in 2025. Alessandro Zacconi looking very strong indeed. The 61 on top going into the Saturday, the first race day, Neil. Can't wait.
Yeah, it does promise to be 2 exhilarating races here on Saturday. And as Alessandro Zacconi said, pretty much everyone is very close with regards to rhythm. But Zacconi will be starting from pole position. He will lead an all-star cast on the front row. It should be thrilling tomorrow.
It really will be. Eric Granado with another front row just behind him. Oscar Gutierrez will go with the 99 from P3. Andrea Mantovani very much under the radar to go to P4. Very strong stuff indeed. Then it's Zanoni, Torres, Ferrari, Baldassarri, Herrera, Casadei without a time being set, completing the top 10. Spinelli, Finello, Hossyuk, Bernardi, Varga, Occhi and Fusco complete a 17 rider field. It should be 18. Get well soon to Hector Garzo, who is unfortunately out with injury following a crash at the start of the day. Alessandro Zacconi goes from pole. We're going from the comms box. Kiko Giles and Neil Morrison all done for Friday. We'll be back bringing the energy, the excitement, the entertainment, and hopefully some facts. Tomorrow, Saturday, race day, race 1 and race 2, MotoE in Le Mans. Enjoy.